Hello, America, and welcome back to Kleppers Corner Weekly Wrap-Up, where we break down the big stories of the week because somebody has to, and the algorithms are too busy feeding you raccoon TikToks. Speaking of TikTok, let's start there, shall we? Story 1, Supreme Court upholds TikTok ultimatum. TikTok has been given the ultimatum, sell or be banned. It's the kind of decision we usually reserve for our favorite reality shows, but now it's about a social media platform that might or might not be stealing your dance moves and your data. The Supreme Court ruled that forcing TikTok's parent company ByteDance to sell is totally constitutional, which has lawmakers on both sides of the aisle saying, finally, something we can agree on, making teenagers cry. And President-elect Trump, he's scrambling to save TikTok before Sunday's ban deadline. Trump saving TikTok is like a dog rescuing a squirrel. It's confusing, probably self-serving, and you can't look away. But hey, at least he's finally found a Chinese export he's willing to fight for. Story 2. Appeals court rules against DACA protections. Next up, the U.S. Appeals Court decided to hit the pause button on President Biden's efforts to protect Dreamers under DACA. Dreamers, by the way, are young immigrants brought to the U.S. as kids, people who are as American as apple pie. Except they didn't choose to be here. Much like most of us didn't choose to eat that gas station sushi last Friday. This ruling leaves 537,000 Dreamers wondering if their futures are about to be torn apart faster than the plot of any Netflix original series. And the kicker? Incoming President-elect Trump says he might negotiate protections for Dreamers, because nothing says I care like a maybe. Story 3. Mental health parity rule faces legal challenge in health news. A trade group representing giant employers is suing to block a Biden-backed rule requiring health plans to provide equal coverage for mental health and physical conditions. Because apparently nothing says we value our employees like saying your broken leg is worth treating, but your depression, walk it off. The trade group's argument is that the rule is arbitrary and capricious. You know, the kind of language you'd expect from the people who think hosting mandatory pizza parties fixes burnout. Mental health advocates are furious. Meanwhile, the trade group claims this is about preserving affordable coverage. Translation, mental health care is expensive, and our yacht club memberships aren't going to pay for themselves. Story 4. LAWP and the Palisades fire over in Los Angeles. The Palisades fire is raging, and the LAWP is under scrutiny for whether its equipment sparked the blaze. Officials haven't reached a conclusion yet, but Moody's credit rating agency says, don't worry, the power company's finances will be just fine. Oh, good, because when I think of wildfires destroying homes and habitats, my first thought is, what about the utilities' credit score? The investigation is ongoing, but LADWP's above-ground lines could become a thing of the past. That's right, buried power lines might save lives and prevent wildfires. Who knew? Well, literally everyone. Story 5. Trump's inauguration moved indoors. Finally, Trump's inauguration is heading indoors due to an Arctic blast sweeping through D.C. Temperatures are expected to hit the low 20s with wind chills in the single digits. Now, you'd think someone who's weathered as many lawsuits as Trump would be used to the chill, but no, he's moving the ceremony into the Capitol Rotunda for safety. This is a rare break in tradition, but Trump reassures us it'll still be a very beautiful experience. And if you can't make it to D.C., don't worry, you can watch the inaugural parade indoors at Capital One Arena. You know, the perfect venue for history or a Wizards game. Of course, fewer people will attend the ceremony in person, and that's a real shame for Trump, who famously obsesses over crowd size. But don't worry, Sean Spicer's probably warming up his largest indoor crowd in history speech as we speak. And that's it for this week's wrap-up. We've got Dreamers stuck in limbo, TikTokers doing one last viral dance before Sunday, and Trump trying to stay warm in the rotunda. Join me next time where we'll dive into more news, more nonsense, and maybe, just maybe, find a reason to smile through it all. Until then, I'm Jordan Klepper, and this is Kleppers Corner. Good night, America.